Shalom. Kohalal Yahweh Shemal Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles of the great millstone and the elders of the great millstone. Shalom to all my fellow laborers that do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the confusion of face Akim, join unto our ranks, the hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you I say Shalom. This is Brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. Coming at you another quick lesson. Just was on fire in the spirit. Just finished talking to the elder ICR down there in the Carolinas. And was in Charlotte. Yeah, the Charlotte is in Carolina. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful brother. Just got me fired up in the spirit. And we're just going to go in on Esau, man. All right? And how Esau hides the truth in plain sight. But before we go into this video, all right, because this video is called The Coming Racial Shift for the U.S. The racial shift is already here. You'll watch all these videos about Esau becoming the minority in 2060, 2050, 2040. Esau is already the minority, man. Well, 200 some deaths between opioids and heroin a day, meth. You know, I think it's over. I think it was 100 something suicides a day. They're already the minority. Their biggest population is old people, the baby boomers and youth. And as when he starts talking about this video, you know, he's going to go into the fact that most of the toddlers being born are Hispanic, Negroes, and Asian. So Esau's already done, man. He's dead. He's done. All right? Meaning that he will not continue to have the numbers to fill racist police departments. All right? His democratic structures that he set up, he will no longer have the man or woman power to fill those positions. He won't be state's attorneys. He won't be lawyers. They won't be police officers, firemen. All right? Positions of power, aldermen, mayors. They no longer have the numbers to stay in power, to keep their system. They're done. The Lord has broken their system. All right? But I want to talk about, let me get this real quick. This is, because Esau's facing that destruction, man. And I love the scripture. This is Ezekiel 35:6. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And this is to the nation of Edom. Verse 1. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Mount Seir is Edom, and Edom is Rome, and Rome was the so-called white race, the house of Edom. The Lord of the Bible, the God of the Bible, the power of all things is against you. Fentanyl, opioids, suicides, deaths of despair, low birth rates, infertility, let's not leave out feminist, something you promoted. All right? Because with that mindset and this career woman mindset, the Edomite woman is not, she just doesn't have lots of babies. They're too career minded. And then they put their bodies on birth control for 20 plus years, and they're waiting till they're all coming into their 40s for the most part, late 30s and 40s after being on birth controls for 20 something years, then start trying to have baby with a weak sperm Edomite who really don't have the equipment to get it deep in there to get the sperm in there. The sperm has so far to swim. All right? And if an Edomite got some rod, you might want to check your lineage. Right? You want to check your lineage, man, because you may not be what you think you are. There's something else in there. That's a joke. what they call it, LOL, BBVS, but very BVVS, but very, very serious. All right, but a little treachery on Esau's part, man. And he's treacherous, and the Lord is just coming back on him. For example, I've had this long case that I've been fighting for a long time. So I finally got this case going. Esau transfers my case to a whole nother county. So they go silent for 3 months. And this is, mind you, this went from state to federal. So it's in the hands of the feds now. All right? So the state court really doesn't have dominion over it anymore. So what they did was they passed it off to another county. 3 months go by. So I had to readjust it. What they're trying to do is make me burn through money and make me give up. All right, so now I have to add in the new county to the suit, to the lawsuit. All right? So what they do, 3 months go by, they refile the same old case on the new case number back in the state. And just caught themselves up. Because there's something called the Rooker-Feldman Doctrine. It's already on law that they can't do that. All right? You can't use one court to try to supersede another. And the feds got it first. And the federal courts actually supersede the state courts. So they're screwed. They're going to have to deal with this matter. All right? And even if I lost, they still lose. Because now it'll be on record for the whole world to see. Which is going to be damaging to their system. This is Isaiah 24 and 16. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even the glory of the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yeah, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. And Esau has been a treacherous writer of unrighteous decrees. And now it's all, the punishment is coming down on him. All right? This is Isaiah 10 and 11. And it reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and take away the right from the poor of my people. The widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And this is what they do. In the next verse, the very first line says, and what will ye do in the day of visitation? What you got to say, Esau? It doesn't matter. That's the inside joke. What you have to say, Esau, it's not important. Man, that's a good tea. So without any further ado, let's see some of the more calamities that's coming on the treacherous spoilers, this treacherous dealers.
Low-growing whites, depending on what state that you're in. And all of the gains, or most of the gains, in your child populations are going to come from these new minority groups, especially Hispanics.
This is At Brookings, a weekly in-depth look at issues behind the news. This week, America's racial tipping point. Today's majority becomes tomorrow's minority.
The complexion of America is changing, literally. New statistics culled from the 2010 census show what demographers have long predicted. America's minorities will soon be the majority. In a tipping point for the nation's racial makeup, Hispanic, Black, and Asian...
Now, mind you, how Esau has lied so much in years past. What they call them census numerators. Lying about numbers. They even made people who are brown complected. Some of these brown people, even darker than Negroes, they're classified as white when they come to America. All this to stay in power, to keep that. Hey, you're the one that made it about color when we're always saying it's about bloodline. Because even though this little blonde kid has his back to us, hey, hell, that could be what's the basketball player's little son, who's got the basketball player. Wow, I can't think of his name right now. The one who played Cornelius in the commercial there, whose father was a Haitian, a Levite, and his mother's an Edomite. And then he had a son with a so-called white woman. And his son from the back could be just like this little kid right here. Looks just like him. Same skin complexion, same hair type. But he's the seed. All right? Remember, by the house of their fathers, the pedigrees are determined, according to Numbers, the 1st chapter. So all Esau's wickedness is backfiring on him, man. All right? It's all backfiring on him. He's the one that made it about color when it's never been about color. It's always been about bloodlines. And bloodlines have been mixed. All right? But seed lines, when you can trace someone back to the seed they came from, then that dictates who you are. Point blank, period. Because it's a whole lot of dark-ass Edomites walking around that look like niggas. All right? Them old weird vibration, rhythmless having, no salt having dark people. But anyway, let's let Esau finish telling you about his destruction.
Number their white counterparts. It's an irreversible trend that presents both opportunities and challenges.
It's irreversible.
Says senior fellow William Fry.
Which just completes what I said. They have not the numbers to continue to maintain the control of the democratic services that they have set up to rule over all the other people.
The new data that just came out show that we've reached a very important tipping point for 3-year-olds. There are 49.9% of 3-year-olds in the United States who are white Anglo-Americans, which means there's now more than half of 3-year-olds who are minorities of ones.
And they're giving you that number, and that's a lie. It's much lower than that. It's much lower than that. By the amount of, they said they've lost damn near a whole generation of adults, so the people of baby making age. Unless you're talking about a whole bunch of white, so-called whites, 3-year-old toddlers that's been born to a bunch of 14 to 15-year-old Edomites, which that's not the case. So they're lying.
Sort of another, largely Hispanic, but also Asian Americans, African Americans. And it's very important because, of course, the 3-year-olds will become 4-year-olds and then continue to progress up, which means that our future of schools and eventually our labor force is going to have a lot to do with the new minority population, especially the new immigrant minorities, even if they're not immigrants themselves, they're second generation, third generation, but it's new for a lot of parts of the country.
Well, these findings that the population is shifting more towards a minority majority can't be unexpected.
There are quite a few places in the country where we've reached this tipping point for a while. Hawaii, New Mexico, California, Texas, more recently Nevada, Florida, Arizona have gotten to this stage.
If they're giving you those, then it's way more than that. Esau never gives you the truth. But it's over for them. All right? As it all comes crashing down. This is Isaiah 14 and 21. Actually, let's start at verse 20. No, let's start at 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword. They go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers. Okay? Let's get his face back on the screen. All right? Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon, that's here in America, the name and the remnant and the son and the nephew, saith the Lord. Why didn't it say auntie and aunt or daughter? Because the woman doesn't matter when it comes to race. Because the man carries the seed. You are whatever your father is. And if your father is a pale red, pink, like the one on the screen, not white like his shirt, Edomite, then this is your future. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Avashai, Bashem Rakak Wadash, Wa Abad Babal.